no need to salute anybody. It's 100% true things. If you salute your duty, you no need to salute to anybody. But if you pollute your duty, you have to salute everybody. This one already told by Abdul Kalam. So this is 100% real things. Love your work and work hard. So that work is for you only. You are not doing work for others. That work is for you only. So if you keep that things in your mind, definitely you will salute your duty. Then finally, I want to tell one thing: hard work never fails. So if you are not achieve something today, definitely tomorrow or day after tomorrow you will get that benefits. So don't stop your hard work. Hard work never fails. Then I want to give a small outline about Taiwan. It's just the motivation for the PhD research scholar as well as MSc student and faculty member also. So it's easy to get the postdoctoral position in abroad. So I was in Taiwan and Europe. I can show something about the specialty of Taiwan and Europe with few slides. So this is Taiwan. It's like a banana. You see the tail and it's a banana. The total population is just only 2.5 crores and the area is 36,193 kilometers square. Whatever you have seen in the movie of Yela Maribu, Surya movie, that all 100% is true. So after I went for Taiwan, I observed that the Bodhidharman history and everything is true. Still they are praying the Bodhidharman, they are considered as a god, and everything is 100% true. And the important things, the Taipei is the capital city, it is here. So this city naturally have the earthquakes. It will go normally Richter scale 5 or higher than 5. But that people, Chinese people, they want to show their wealth. They are very hard workers. So they just built this 101 building in that highly earthquake place. It's a 101 floors are there. So I went up to the top, but they just finished this 101 building within 1 year. So it is a Guinness record. And also still this building have the capacity to even if the Richter scale earthquake is coming for nearly 8, it will be stable. So that much construction they put inside. What they done after 3 floor or 5 floor, railway track. So similarly, railway track 2 routes they just built on the top of the building, then put steel ball inside of that track. So thereafter they construct five floor, 5 floor. When they get the earthquake, the building is slightly shaking and inside wall is there, so it will not get the cracking. So that technology they were used, and still it is a Guinness record. And one more thing, from floor 0 to floor 101, we will reach by lift within 3 minutes. So it is also Guinness record. And they are all hard workers. And the Buddhist, it is a very important one. Almost 20 to 30% of people there follow the Buddhist. And the traditional Chinese culture, they have it. And they can eat anything. It's their culture. Snacks and food, anything they can eat. This National Cheng Kang University is a chemistry department, and the backside our material science department was there. And Portugal, Europe. So the Portugal is located 2 side Spain, and this 2 side is Atlantic Sea. It's a small country, and there are many things are famous: olives, grapes, and strawberry, blueberry, something. So similarly, if you go for outside in India, you will find a lot of neem leaves or neem trees. Then if the people wants to get neem leaves, you can get it. Nobody will ask you why you are getting this one and why you are taking neem fruits. Similarly, strawberry will be there in the street side. So our people, including me, we used to take something and put in the pocket whenever we go for outside. We used to eat. So that is a very nice memories. And a lot of peaches are there in Portugal. And the famous duck, Astoria duck. And snowy winters also will be there. and their national bird is the rooster. But they have a farm, they are eating, not like India, peacock, our government saying that we are not able to eat it, but they can eat. And this one is the Eiffel Tower. Behind the Eiffel Tower, this is my daughter. So we have taken the photograph. I went up to the top also. An International Hyperion Nanotechnology Laboratory. This is an International Nanotechnology Laboratory. It's there in Europe, Portugal. So they have all the facility. It's a specialized laboratory for the nanotechnology. Well, nano 10 power minus 9 meter. So this building constructions also, it's like a 10 power minus 9. If you see from the sky, you will be able to see the construction is like a 10 power minus 9. This 9 0, and see here is the 9 numbers. And this is Praha, it's the city, and the Portugal capital city, it's here, Lisbon. So this is my team. So you just see, I'm here. I was only one man among 10 ladies. So she's my boss, Begona Espinia, and all are my friends. So I was there for 3 years, and I completed several projects there, and we published some books and research articles. Okay, now I can go for my topics. It's fluorescent carbon nanomaterials for multi-potential applications. Before we go for the carbon materials, we must know the small background about the carbons. So this carbon. So can you tell which one is made up of carbons? So one is gold and apple, then another one food, then ice creams. So without carbon, we cannot live. So if you take our body, carbohydrate is there, proteins, vitamins, enzyme, everything is made by carbons. So for example, if you take a folic acid, then you can find carbon hydrogen bondings and many things. If you take outside the trees and whatever it may be, it is also made by carbon. So the carbon, it is very important for day-to-day life, and their electronic configuration is a well-known one, but I can explain a little bit. The carbon valence is 6, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, but due to the half filled, this one moved to here, and 2s half filled and 2p is half filled. So therefore the valency of carbon is 4. So sp2 hybridization is obtained. Then sp2 carbon has 3 hybrid orbitals, 120 degree. This one is the px, py, and pz. Okay, allotropes of carbons. We can divide into 2 categories: crystalline allotropes and amorphous allotropes. So crystalline allotropes, diamond, graphite, and fullerenes. These are the crystalline allotropes. And amorphous allotropes, gold, charcoal, and lampblancks are the amorphous allotropes. But all are valuable one. We can go one by one. So this is a graphene structure. It is a allotropes. You can see then pi-pi stacking interaction and sp2 hybridization will be there. And a diamond also is the crystal orientation. Then graphene oxide, then carbon nanotubes and carbon dots. So these are all the carbon allotropes. We have a special interest with carbon dots. First of all, people have some doubts. What is the difference between graphite and graphene oxide and graphene quantum dots? It's my duty to explain very clearly. So graphite, see inside of these photographs. So the multi-layer sheets are called as a graphite. If it is a single layer, that is called graphene. Single layer, it is a graphene. Multi-layer sheets is a graphite. Okay. So the graphite, what facility, what special properties it has. So you can see here, efficient electric conductivity because of the pi-pi stacking interaction and carbon-carbon bonding. It has the efficient electric conductivity and excellent heat conductivity, and the highest natural stiffness you can find it, and impressive strength you can find. Then can work at temperature even 3600 degrees. This is very, very important one. then effectively resistant to chemical reaction and self-lubricating. So that's why the graphite is eager. People are using several fields. So this is a graphite. But this graphite, it is insoluble in water. It is a hydrophobic nature. What about graphene? Graphene also it is a hydrophobic nature because it is a single sheet. Graphene, very important things, it's a highly mechanical strength. See this image. The impressive strong, highly strength, and strength of 130 gigapascals you can find, and 40 times stronger than even diamond. So it is a stronger than diamond. Which one is the graphene? When you take a single sheet, that much stronger. Then excellent electrical conductivity and significantly superior to graphite because it is a single sheet. So therefore, it is a good superior conductivity. Then excellent heat and electrical conductivity properties. So these are fundamentals. Many people still have doubts. What is the difference between graphene and graphite? Graphene means a single sheet. Graphite means it's a multi-layer sheet. That's only one difference. I can give few more examples. The definition of graphite and graphene. So graphite is stable allotrope carbon that has crystalline structure and form of holes. It is a single layer sheet. Sometimes it is a multi-layers. It's a multi-layers in a graphite. And the number of carbon sheets, an allotropes of carbon having a high number of carbon sheets. A single sheet, therefore less number of carbons. And the strength, it's brittle and strongest material even tested. And appearance is a iron black color and a steel gray color, and it has the metallic luster and nearly transparent. Is the basic difference. Okay, we can go one by one. What is the carbon dots? Actually, well, the nanomaterial synthesis, people can synthesis by top-down method and bottom-up methods. I can discuss one by one. But these carbon dots, carbon quantum dots, or graphene dots, or C dots, all are same meaning only, nothing different, because all are made by carbons. So carbon dot, carbon quantum dots, C dots, or CQDS, graphene quantum dots, all are almost same meaning only, same definition only. The only small difference, after you prepared the carbon dots, it is a graphite structure only. So therefore you can say this is also graphene quantum dots because it is a quantum nature. So therefore you can say it is a quantum dots. And the dots, well, the dots means 0 dimensions. So this is a 0 dimension material. It's like a sheet, small sheet. Graphene oxide also it is a sheet. I can discuss later how the people are preparing graphene oxide from the graphite. First, this one, carbon dots are a new class of carbon nanomaterials with size less than 5 nanometer. The major difference, size. Graphite and graphene oxide and carbon quantum dots. Graphene oxide and carbon quantum dots are soluble in water, but this carbon quantum dots only having the fluorescence nature. Then graphite and graphene is a hydrophobic nature. They are big sheets, size maybe 200, 300 nanometers length. But graphene oxide also same 200, 100 nanometer size. But this carbon dots is 5 nanometer or less than 5 nanometer size. It will easily diffuse into our cells. That's why it is very useful material for the biological applications. The carbon dots are highly soluble in water, chemical inertness, easy functionalization, high resistance to water bleaching, and low cost, very cheap cost. Carbon dots are extensively used in several fields: bioimaging, drug delivery, optoelectronics, biosensor. The carbon dot is a serendipitous invention. Serendipitous means accidental inventions. The scientist Yu et al. In the year 2004, when they prepared single-walled carbon nanotubes. So after they prepared, they just purified with hydrochloric acid. That time they obtained some yellow color solution. Then they just check with their fluorescence by UV chamber. It's a fluorescence. Then they studied about the Raman spectroscopy. then it is somewhat different from the single walled carbon nanotubes, as well as it is different from the graphite and graphene. Then they check their size by TEM. It is interestingly, it is 4 nanometer size. So in the year 2004 only, the first paper outcome from carbon nanotubes. So therefore, it is a fast growing field. 2004 only, they just serendipitously invented this one. And carbon darts were first discovered by Zhu et al. In the 2004 accidentally during the purification of single walled carbon nanotubes. Dots. Whether this carbon having the quantum nature, yes, definitely. So the extreme small semiconductor property, this one having the band caps, then range 2 to 10 nanometers. Some people are saying 10 nanometers of carbon quantum dots. Majority of people, they have size less than 5 nanometers. So 2 to 10 nanometer in diameter, then highly fluorescent and highly stable, soluble in water, then principle of quantum confinement. So therefore, our carbon dots having these 4 properties, that's why we are saying that this is a carbon quantum dots or graphene quantum dots. This carbon quantum dot having some fascinating properties. So size dependent properties. So when we are increasing the size, it shifts to the higher wavelength. And also this one excitation dependent fluorescence. When you are increasing the excitation, the fluorescence also can shift. I will show in my my own work data. Then properties. This carbon quantum dots having some special properties or better property than graphene oxide, graphite or graphene, because carbon quantum dots are biocompatibles. If you're taking graphite or graphene, somewhat it is little toxic, but it is more biocompatible one because it is a smaller size. When it is went inside of our body or animal body, it will come through the urine or fecal matter. So therefore, it is more biocompatible. And small size, so you know, well, small size, it can cover the large surface area. Take an example, one room. So if you want to occupy that room with a big football, we need 500 footballs. Okay, so the same room, if you want to occupy by tennis ball, we need few lakhs of tennis balls. So the surface coverage is more when we have the smaller size. So therefore, the smaller size, it can cover the large surface area. The next one, photoluminescence, highly fluorescence. So this photoluminescence, you can get the luminescence with the different colors, green, blue, yellow, orange, red, and many things you can, many reports available. Then photostable property. We have synthesized carbon quantum, it is stable more than 6 months also. So it is a light emissive, so you have to protect by aluminum foil and you have to keep in the dark place. Then it will be stable for long times. Then potential application, sensing, catalysis, biomedicines, many field you can apply. Then you can dope some heteroatoms, you can dope some metals, for example, carbon dots with silver nanoparticles, carbon dots doped silver nanoparticles, carbon dot doped zinc oxide nanoparticles. You can couple with anything, as well as you can dope with nitrogen atom, you can dope with sulfur atoms, you can dope with the phosphorus atom. So heavy metals you can dope, as well as heteroatoms you can dope. So then fluorescence property, you can tune their fluorescence property. It is also having the solvent dependent property. When you are changing the solvent, the fluorescence property will be varied. When you are changing the excitation wavelength, fluorescence property will be varied. So it's a special characterization for the carbon quantum dots. Then excellent water solubility. It is completely soluble. I can tell later why it is highly soluble. Just to take an example of graphene or graphite. So there is no other functionality, only carbon-carbon bonding. But this graphene oxide and graphene quantum dots having some functionality like carboxyl group, epoxide group, hydroxyl groups. So this is a major reason that it's become a water soluble, and also the smaller size. Again, biocompatibility, good conductivity. These carbon nanometers, carbon dots, people are using for solar cells applications, as well as supercapacitor applications, and many applications. And photochemical stability, low toxicity, and environmental friendly. It is a environmental friendly. So that's why this carbon quantum dots, it's a novel one. People having much attraction about this carbon quantum dots, and also it is easy to synthesis. If you have a clear understanding about this synthesis procedure, then it is easy. And the synthesis protocol also, it is not very harmful. So these are publication details. Just have a look. In the year 2004, only limited number of published articles we have seen. Then the year 2005 to 2018. So I don't have access for Scopus, so I cannot put 2020 here, but you can imagine it will go more than 10,000 now. So it's slowly increasing. Within 10 years, see the traumatized increases we can see here. So still there is a need to synthesize carbon quantum dots for multi-potential application, and we have to modify the synthesis protocol, and we have to apply for energy, environmental, biomedical applications. Whichever field you are doing, you can apply this carbon nanomaterials in your field. Engineering people also can use, as well as science people also you can use. So multi-potential application. So this is the reason I have a special interest to synthesis carbon quantum dots. So again, it is a top-down method and bottom-up method. So this is a graphite. First, we have to take a graphite. Then we have to use the strong oxidizing agent, sulfuric acid and KMNO4. And it's a very important one. As a faculty, I have to inform you one thing. So you know, well, it is an explosive one. Concentrated sulfuric acid, when you put with KMNO4, it is an explosive one. So what we used to do, we have to take a round bottom flask. Then outside of the round bottom flask, we have to keep ice. Then we have to add this graphite and sulfuric acid and KMNO4. After reach it's the 0 degree or minus degree temperature, we have to check with thermometer. Then once this reaction is finished, then slowly we have to increase the temperature. That procedure I can tell in my next slide. Then finally it produces the graphene oxide. So graphene oxide structure this one only. It's a sheet, and here carboxyl group is there, and the epoxide groups as well as hydroxyl group. This is the reason this graphene oxide and this carbon dots both are getting soluble in water. But see here, there is no functionality, all are carbon, so it is a hydrophobic nature. Chemically, we are getting the surface oxidations. Now, once it get oxidized, then the surface functionality uptime. Because of that surface functionality, this graphene oxide and carbon dots can get soluble in water. The next one, bottom-up methods. So bottom-up method, we have to take a small molecules and we have to build into the carbon dots. It is Armstrong structure, you know, well, 10 power minus 10 nanometers, 10 meter size. So then hydrothermal, it is slowly coming, and it's intermediate, then finally it's produced carbon dots. So this is the oxidation method, the bottom-up method. So it's very important. Four important things, four mechanisms involved inside. The number one, hydrolysis. So once you are giving the temperature, the particles can get hydrolysis. Then second one, pyrolysis. Then third one is a passivation. So combined together and it is a passivation. Then finally all materials convert to the carbon, that is called carbonization. Again, when I am telling hydrolysis, pyrolysis, passivation and carbonization. These four mechanisms involved in this hydrothermal method, especially the bottom-up method. Finally, it produces the carbon quantum dots. So we can follow both procedure, but this one is a little bit complicated and limited applications, but little expensive, the graphene. And the bottom-up method is cheap cost materials, and you can get the same quantity and same fluorescent of carbon quantum. Therefore, the people are many people are using this bottom-up method. The synthesis methods for carbon dots, we can go one by one. So this is a top-down method. First, we have to prepare graphene oxide. This is two-step process. Graphene oxide one step, then finally graphene quantum dots one step. So first we have to take a graphite and sulfuric acid. Then we have to, under ice medium, you have to add sodium nitrate. It is a reported one, modified Hummer methods. This method is called modified Hummer method. But this step you have to be very careful because it's a sulfuric acid and KMNO4 medium. So you have to keep in the ice medium. So you have to use the fume hood, and you have to close the shutter, and temperature you just look After 5 minutes stirring, you have to add, it should be less than 20 degree, 0.3 gram of KMnO4. If you are doing first time, get the help from those who are working in organic laboratory. They know very well about this one. So don't do by yourself, and you have to follow the laboratory safety procedure also. And 40 degree, 30 minutes. Then you have to increase the temperature 90 degree for 1.5 hours. Then you have to add water slowly, because it's a very hot condition. Slowly you have to add. And finally 7 ml double distilled water, and hydrogen peroxide is oxidizing agent. All are oxidizing agent. This one sulfuric acid and KMnO4. So finally it will produce the graphene oxide. See, it is a blackish color, but after obtain of graphene oxide, it's become a brownish color. Then you have to add 5% of HCl and double distilled water for purification. Finally, you can get the graphene oxide. That one you have to make it dry by oven. So the overall procedure, it will take for 2 days time if you are doing regularly. Then you can get the graphene oxide. So this graphene oxide, again, you have to use as a starting material for the synthesis of carbon dots or graphene quantum dots. Again, I just take graphene oxide, and if you are using water as a solvent, that is hydrothermal method, but DMF I use. Any solvent you can use, ethanol, methanol, anything you can use. That one is called solvothermal method. So we have to sonicate it, then 30 minutes to get the complete solubility. Then thereafter, you have to transfer to the autoclave. So this autoclave reaction. So then put inside, Teflon will be there. You have to put inside. Then you have to heat at 220. It is a trial and error. So don't fix 220. I fix by trial and error optimization. Then finally, this 210 degree and 8 hours was good to synthesize the nanoparticle. But initially we tried with the 80 degree, 100 degree, 120 degree, different degree. But that times we did not get the highly fluorescent material because the reaction is incomplete. Then when we increase, when we optimize this temperature, we got high yield of graphene quantum dots and the highly fluorescent material. This is the structure. So we use DMF, so it is get functionality here, DMF, and also this epoxide hydroxyl groups also you can get. You can tune the functionality. For example, this is the structure. So if you want to modify with amine, acid amine coupling, EDC NHS you can use. You can modify the Earth surface also. I mean the surface functionality you can use. So EDC NHS chemistry or coupling or any other reactions you can do, and you can modify this one. Or if you want to create the functionality with the NH2, you can mix the citric acid is a carbon source, and amine, urea or some other amine you can use it. Then finally that amide surface you can get it. Again the same procedure, mechanism: hydrolysis, pyrolysis, passivation, and carbonization. If we have phosphorus, nitrogens, or other heavy metals, that will be also exist in this synthesized carbon quantum dots. That is called doped ones. For example, if you want to dope the nitrogen, so you can use citric acid with urea. So urea nitrogen source. Finally, you can get the nitrogen is the top one. If you want to top with sulfur, you can take the sulfur containing compound. Then that one you can. But a very important thing, both the reactants should be soluble in one particular solvent. So that is one. And solvent effect also will be there. I told you here, DMF I have taken, and their functionality also obtained here. And whenever you do some fluorescence study by UV chamber, you have to cross check with your solvent. Sometimes we have observed our DMF also itself, it is a fluorescence. For example, unreacted TMF, if it is there in our synthesized particles, we may think that it is fluorescent, but it is due to DMF. So we have to cross check with the DMF or any other solvent, whether that solvent in particular irradiation of UV light, whether it is showing some fluorescence or not, we have to confirm it. If that one different fluorescence means, you can proceed. Then next one is the chemical synthesis. People are taking waste materials, carbon shoot, for example, the candle they have taken, and the top of the candle, some fumes it's going outside. then they have to put the glass plate in the top of the fumes, then finally the carbon materials, it's deposited on the glass plate, then they scratch it, then they have taken carbon shoot. As well as people can take the waste, for example, so the motor vehicle waste as well as petroleum waste as a starting material, all are carbon materials only. Then we have to oxidize it, we have to use some strong oxidizing agent, nitric acid, and the isolation of small particles, reflection. So during nitric acid reflections, you have to be very careful. Sometimes it is explosive, it's based on the temperature. So if you are new, just get the help from organic synthesis people, they have much experience, or otherwise you just get the help from those who already synthesize this type of carbon compounds. Finally, it produces the 4 nanometer or 5 nanometer of particles. This is the photographs taken in a daylight and under UV light. So under UV light, you just see the color is green. So the green fluorescent carbon dots they prepared. But the color, fluorescent color, it is depends on several factors. So sometimes you can get, it's a challenging task to prepare the red fluorescence carbon dot. You know, well, according to the VIBGR, so violet, indigo, green, blue, red, orange. So the red penetration into our human body, it's a longer wavelength. As well as if you are having back pains and if you go for the hospital, some doctor can give you advice to take our IR lamp irradiation massage, so that infrared rays can go inside and it is not harmful to our body. So the red fluorescent, it is very important. So if you are using this red fluorescence carbon dots for biomedical application, bioimaging, it will not kill for the cancer cells, normal cells. The same times if you are using blue light, so the laser, it is the UV, so it is harmful to the cells, and it is a visible light, it is moderate toxic. But when you are go for red fluorescence, it is a very good one. Red fluorescence is always novel one. But green and other things, it's based on the applications. If you are going for sensor applications, or if you are going for other energy application, you don't need to worry about their fluorescence. But in case of biomedical application, if you want to go for high impact journal, it's a challenging task to prepare the red fluorescence carbon dots. So that fluorescence, it's highly depends on the starting material and solvent and the temperature, then the which protocol, synthesis protocol you are using. So many parameters are there, including the concentration. Then electrochemical synthesis, people are synthesizing by electrochemical method only. So take examples, they can use the working electrode as a graphite, then it's the reference electrode, and it's a counter electrode platinum wire. This silver chloride or calomel electrode is a reference electrode, then graphite wire as a working electrode, graphite rod. Then when you are giving with certain temperature, the tiny particles can liberate from this graphite. The tiny particles are the graphene quantum dots. This is one novel electrochemical synthesis. And this one is highly pure one, so you don't need to purify again and again, because it's whichever you produce by electrochemical method, when compared with chemical methods, it's a highly pure one. Then laser ablation methods, if you have laser, you can take graphite particles or graphene or graphite. Then you have to use some other passivating agents. This polyethylene glycol they have taken, and the irradiation time, laser wavelength also it's important. Sometimes if you are using 700 nanometer laser, it comes under the infrared rays, it's more useful one. UV rays and visible rays you can use it, and different irradiation time, then a laser energy. These are the parameters to control the size and their fluorescence. Then this method also people are using this method. Then if you have microwave, so don't need to have a special microwave. So the normal microwave, it is enough. You have to mix some carbon materials, for example, citrate, reducing sugar, non-reducing sugar, and other additives, back polyethylene glycol or something. Then you have to give the microwave time is 5 minutes, and pressure and temperature you have to give, and finally you can get the fluorescent materials. you have to optimize it. For first time, you cannot get the carbon materials. You have to optimize, change the concentration of starting with the A or B or irradiation time as well as temperature, pressure. Then finally, you can get the very good fluorescent materials. This is the easy one. Then hydrothermal method. So hydrothermal method, you can use normal chemicals, citric acid, urea, and many things. The same hydrothermal method you can use for the waste material or natural precursors, many things. Finally, you can produce the carbon quantum dots. See the examples. Natural precursors are used as a starting material for the synthesis of carbon dots. People have taken orange juice as a starting material, and they just take an orange juice and put inside of the autoclave and heated at a certain temperature. Finally, they produce the carbon quantum dots. Because inside of orange juice, a lot of chemicals will be there, sucrose, glucose, and other amino acids, many things. So that will combine together. Again, it is based on the four mechanism: hydrolysis, pyrolysis, passivation, and carbonization. Finally, it produces the carbon quantum dots. And the milk also they have used, and see the reference, and they apply for bioimaging application. And natural precursors, aloe vera gel they have taken, and biosensor application, and ginger people have taken. Many reports available, thousands reports available. If you are thinking it is not reported, but when you go for the literature, it is already reported. So almost majority of the natural precursors they have finished. So only herbal materials and other things it's remaining. So if you want to do this type of research, so it's better to do the literature survey thoroughly. Then you can save your time. Then some advantages, disadvantages. Chemical applications, well, it's a laser. Sorry, chemical ablation most accessible, various sources. Disadvantages. So it's a very harsh condition to control because it is sometimes it is explosive. Then yield also little less. An electrochemical method, size and other things, it's controllable. And a few small molecules, maybe the precursors. Laser ablations, well, laser is little harmful. If we are lazy, then we have to lose our hand or something. Then effective, surface tunable. Microwave irradiation is the best one. You can use eco-friendly and other thing. Hydrothermal method, you can use it, and other methods also you can use it. Some very interesting result. Already I told you the fluorescence property is based on the starting material. See here, this paper reported in Angewandte Chemie, very high petter standard journals. First one is the you can see the ortho para. So this one is the ortho, then meta and para position. It's there. So when they have keep all the things are same, 180 degree 12 hours, 180 degree 12 hours, 180 degree 12 hours. It's not water soluble. They have taken ethanol as a solvent, and the same procedure, same weight also they just taken. So procedure things is all are same, but only the functionality is different. Position, ortho, meta, para position, it's different. But they have found when they are taking this one, it's the ortho, they obtain green. When they are taking meto, they obtain blue. When they are taking para, they obtain the red. It's a very interesting data. Then they have excited at 365 nanometers. So we cannot say it's based on this one or based on that one. After we do the research only, we have to predict the mechanism through why it is different from others and why it is produced this one. We have to predict. But LR is based on the many parameters. Solvent is important. If they change the solvent, for example, if they are using DMF, definitely this fluorescence can get differ. So the same fluorescence they cannot get. If they are using other solvent, definitely they can change. If they are changing the temperature, definitely it will affect the fluorescence. So we have to optimize one by one, and we have to give the result. So this red fluorescence, again, it is very useful for biomedical applications. So if you have collaboration with medical university, definitely this material is novel because it is a 4 nanometer size. You can modify the surface of the carbon materials with the receptor, folate receptor. The folate receptor can easily find out, and it will reach the cancer cells. Once it reaches the cancer cells, then we can image the cancer cells and their shapes, everything. According to that way, we can give the medicines, as well as we can load the drugs inside of your carbon quantum dots, and it will reach the inside of cancer cells. The one important things, we must know the difference between the cancer cells and normal cells. Major two important things. The people are, because I work in cancer cell, that's why I'm telling this much clear idea. So two important things we have to keep in our mind. So one is the normal cells can stable. It will not die for 40 degree. It can stable up to 50, 40 degree or 50 degree something. But cancer cells can die nearly 40 degree. Then second one, normal cell, the pH environment is 7.2, but cancer cell, it is acidic environment, 5.2 or 5 something. So the scientists, they kept these things in their mind. When they load the drugs, because of the acidic environment, drug can release. So this is called a drug delivery. And the temperature, for example, some plasmonic nanoparticles, gold nano rod or some gold star, if you put inside, outside, if they are treated with laser, the particles can produce the heat. We can tune up to 40, 45. Then according to the heat, we can kill the cancer cell. Because of the heat, inside the nanomaterials, drug can release. So dual therapy, drug delivery as well as heat therapy. Heat therapy is called the photothermal therapy. So these techniques people are using. If you load this carbon quantum dots, you can image the cancer cells or normal cells, and we can easily count how much died cells, how much dead cells, how much live cells is there. So this type of things we can do. Then one important thing, fluorescence mechanism. How it get fluorescence? It is a very big question. Still, it is a challenging task. As a scientist having more than 10 years research experience, I work in this carbon quantum dots. So to be frank, still now this unknown one. So the mechanism nobody has predicted, clear mechanism nobody has predicted. This is a real fact. So because this carbon quantum dots field started at 2004, still people, they are giving the mechanism based on the obtained data and theory. But among the different theory, I found this one is the correct one. How it is get the fluorescence. So if you go inside of carbon quantum dots, you can see some defects. So see here, there is a big hole. So inside, so you can find this type of hole, a very smaller nanometer size of holes, some places. But here there is no holes. So this holes is a major important one, and this zigzag movements is the major important one. So the fluorescence properties of carbon dots are associated with the particle surface, especially surface defect. This is called surface defect. This one is called surface defect. And electron hole recombinations are the major factor. The carbon quantum dots become a fluorescence material. When you are irradiating the light, UV light, then electron hole recombinations will occur and surface defect. Because of the surface defect, that is the main reasons these carbon materials, carbon quantum dots become a fluorescent. So still clear mechanism, it's not understood one. Then applications of carbon dots, many applications are there. Sensor applications, photovoltaic, optoelectronics, photocatalysts, and surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy, bioimaging. Whatever I found something interesting, I can tell that one. Thereafter, we can go for my own research output data. The sensor applications, these are carbon quantum dots. They have taken some folic acid structured materials, then they coated with the carbon dots. When they are using hydrogen sulfide as an analyte, see here it is the blue fluorescence. After addition of hydrogen sulfide, it's become a green fluorescence. They are saying fluorescence resonance energy transfer. This is one mechanism. It's published in ChemCom, so year 2013 only. So it can go with high impact factor. So this type of things is called fluorescence sensor. Biomolecules also, many people they have sense, and toxic chemicals. explosive chemicals. Many reports you can find there. And photocatalyst. So for dye degradations or pharmaceutical materials degradation, people are using carbon quantum dot as a photocatalyst to degrade the dye materials and other materials. This one published in Nano today. It's a very high impact factor journal. Then energy applications. So green solar energy, that energy applications you can use. So these are solar cells. So here they have is nitrogen doped carbon quantum dots. Then this is a plate, indium tin oxide and titanium dioxide in class plate. Finally, they found very good efficiency. This one published in Sustainable Energy Fuels. Okay, research output from my laboratory. So biomedical applications, we done in vivo study as well as in vitro study. So this paper published in Journal of Nanotechnology, impact factor 3.5, I guess so. So we published this one. The green synthesis of fluorescence carbon dots from 5Cs in vitro imaging tumor cells and growth inhibitions. So this was fun. Actually, when I was in Portugal, that time I used to cook by myself. That time I was a single. If you are in foreign, definitely you will have that experience. There we cannot get the spices or the other sambar rasam powder or other things. We cannot get it there. So we have to go for capital city or some other places, and very expensive. So in flight, they will allow, it's based on the flight, they will allow 28 kg per person and 10 kg in hand luggage. So dress and other things we are not buy here because it is cheap materials there and high quality. Only this sambar, rasam powder, puliyodare powder, and pickles and many things we used to buy. Yearly once only we are coming, so 1.5 years or 2 years only coming, so we have to carry all the things. In my pack full of the 28 kg, it's only with this black pepper, turmeric, rasam, sambar, appalam, many things. One problem is there, it's expiry date. So when I clean my kitchen, one day I've checked everything, then it got expired. So expired date already finished. My mind not interested to throw it because I had a problem and I know the difficulty how to bring from India. Then at the same time, it's a expiry date already finished. We cannot able to eat it. Then I thought that why don't we convert, why don't we prepare nanoparticles from this expiry date material? Then I used this hydrothermal method. Then I prepared this one. It's just for fun. And also one time I went for the supermarket. At that time I found some vegetables as well as fruits. They just put in the dustbin because how to say, it's not fresh one. Then I thought that why don't we take this material as a starting material to prepare the nanoparticles. The both results I will show you one by one. The black pepper, cinnamon, red chili, and turmeric. So here we are saying chili, but they are red chili, green chili, yellow chili is there. That's why I put the red chili for the European people understanding. Cinnamon means in Tamil lavanga pattai. So that is called cinnamon. All are spices. And one important thing, this black pepper is called as a king of spices. It's a very important thing. So after do my research, I was wondering because our body, how it is getting immune power is based on the spices. So I can tell one by one. The black pepper among the different spices, carbon dots, the black pepper kill the cancer cell almost 80%. At the same time, it's not harmful to the normal cells. So that's why the people they are using this black pepper, whether they know or without knowing, but it is very useful one. That's why our Indian people we have a immune power. And second one, it is a very important things I have to share with you. One of my best friend, she is in Portugal. She's not a scientist. She is working in a company. One day she just talked to me, her friend of her friend, she's counting her days because of the cancer. So two surgery already finished, and the third one is going to do. That time, doctor, European doctor. So everybody listen well. European medical doctor. they advised to her to take Indian turmeric in their food, because they said this Indian turmeric is having the capacity to control the tumor cell growth. Then she was approached me. That time I kept 1 kg of turmeric powder. Then I given almost half kg. Then I just taught to her how to eat and how to mix with their food. Our food is different. Their food is different. She just had for only 15 days. Then again she went for the hospital for checkup. It's a big surprise. Doctor said that which size I found 15 days before, the same size is still there. There is no increases, size increases. So are you taking turmeric? Doctor said, and she said yes, I am taking turmeric. Then she met me again and she was great, and she told me, so my bad time, I did not able to meet you few years ago. So then I can save my days. It's a true one. So therefore, it's a medical doctor from European Union also recommend this turmeric, black pepper, chili, cinnamon to eat, and it has the immune power. So we can go one by one. So this after eye synthesis, this UV visible spectrum, left side and right side, the emission spectrum, all are blue fluorescence. The fluorescence is 370, 380, 370, and 390. This is the excitation wavelength. The emission wavelength of 465, 477, 460, and 489. Cinnamon, red chili, turmeric, and black pepper. So this photograph daylight and it is in the UV light. Then already I told you this carbon quantum dots having excitation different fluorescence. First one it is 290. When I excite at 290, it's obtained around to 450 emission. When I increase the excitation wavelength 300, 310, 1010 increases, the 370 is obtained little shift. The same time it's increased their fluorescence intensity. This is a basic property. It's an excitation dependent property. Then beyond 370, it started to decrease their fluorescence intensity. The same times the wavelength keep on increase in the higher wavelength. So these are special properties for this carbon quantum dots. If you are saying carbon quantum dots or graphene quantum dots or C dot, you have to show this data. So this data, from this data, what information we are getting, this is excitation dependent fluorescence, and also solvent dependent fluorescence you can find here. So the maximum intensity we obtained at 370 nanometer. Beyond the 370, it started to decrease. Therefore, we kept 370 as an excitation wavelength for our further studies. So this is a easy way to find out the excitation wavelength. We cannot take any excitation wavelength by our own. We have to do the this type of study. Then we have to show this type of data. Then only the people will believe. So if some people taking, I taken 320, I taken this one. Some people they are saying it is based on the UV. So if we get the peak here, we can get the UV 320. So I kept the excitation 320. Here 380, I kept the 380. But sometimes this one is the lower intensity, this one is higher intensity. So we cannot say which one higher, which one lower. And you may think that here only one is there, but don't take this way. We have to go by this way. 10 increases we have to give, and where we obtain the higher intensity, that one we have to choose as a excitation wavelength. So both data I have given. So I started from 290 and then 600, 10 nanometer we have to increase. Finally we can produce. So similar data I have observed for chili, red chili seeders. There I found 380 as an excitation wavelength. See the big shift, it's there. And another one, turmeric, I found 370 as a excitation wavelength. And black pepper, I found it's the 390 as an excitation wavelength. We cannot say this one is all are same excitation wavelength. Once you do this study, whatever you observed, you have to show. And again, the mechanism I given is the defect emission and surface energy drop and intrinsic state emission. So still the proper mechanism not yet predicted. So based on the observed data and the theoretical data, this fluorescence mechanisms only many people are giving in their papers. Then this TEM image. So if you are in abroad, in Europe or states, you have to do all the things by yourself. If you want to take TEM image, you have to get the training and you have to prepare sample by yourself. You have to go and you have to take. So I image this data, and whatever I shown, everything done by myself only. So see the particles, it's a smaller dots. This one is the just 4 nanometer size, and this the lattice, the crystal lattice for carbon 0.32 nanometer. So the average particle size is 4 nanometer. This is important data, Raman spectroscopy. The D band and G bands you have to find by Raman spectroscopy. If you are doing carbon quantum dots, this is a fundamental data. If you go for high impact heterogeneity, definitely they will ask this one. So based on the D band and G band, D band should come in the 1300 and G band should come in the 1580 or something. And based on the intensity ratio, D band and G band intensity ratio, we can say whether it is a good surface defect or a less surface defect. So all should come nearly 1. So see this one, the Raman D band and G band ratio all are 1.1. So therefore this one having good surface defect. If your material having good surface defect, then your material will be highly fluorescent. And this one excitation full width half length maximum, Stokes hits, quantum yield you can find up to 50, 60. I found one carbon dots, it's almost 80% of fluorescence. And the temp particle size, see 3 nanometer and 4 nanometer only. The dynamic light scattering is this one, and zero potential also we have observed here. And final applications for cancer therapy, cancer cells, human kidney cells I have taken. This one also performed by myself. Everything I done. So this data. In Europe, nobody will help you. Whenever you need a training, they can give the training. After that, you have to plot and you have to write everything. It's not like Asian country. Then it's this one. It's the cell lines it's the cancer cells. And see here this black pepper, black color, and red chili cinnamones. It is the cancer cells. So the cancer cells, see here, it is almost kill 80% of cancer cells from 100 to here, this degrees. This is normal cells only 20%. Then bioimaging. So we can during your optical microscope, fluorescence microscope, you can change the colors. If you want to green, you can get green and this one. So this color is the dead cells. So the dead cells is more in the black pepper and the turmeric. This is the normal cells. So normal cells, see here, the color is less. So it is more compatible, biocompatible for the normal cells, and cancer cells, more number of cancer cells was killed by this one. So among these 4 things, we observed black pepper having the high efficiency to kill the cancer cells. It's all in vitro. In vitro means we have to take the cells, blood cells or something, and do in the laboratory. Then another one study, it's in vivo study. So this one we publish in Nanomaterials. Already I told you we have taken fruits as a source. So kiwi, pera means perikai, avocado, it's English fruit. And then hydrothermal, I just taken the juice. Then same excitation dependent properties. So 470 it's excitation maximum. And here we obtain green fluorescent of nanoparticles. Kiwi also green fluorescent, and this one also green fluorescent. And citrate, we for a blank study or a control study we prepared, that one also green fluorescent. The particle size histogram, see here, so average particle size, it's the 3 nanometer or 2 nanometer. D band, G band you can find here. The intensity ratio also we found. Then here we have take zebrafish. Hope you have seen this zebrafish. What we done, actually we replaced the water. We used our carbon nanoparticles as a water source. Instead of water, we applied carbon nanoparticles and we put this zebrafish inside. It was live. Then we have different time interval. We just take out and we just image their body. Then we found our carbon dots, whether it is reached to the eyes, whether it is reached to the heart, or whether it's reached to the intestine. This is we found. This is a control and para. This is a fluorescence. See here, small dots you can observe. So this is a stomach, and we found the maximum accumulations of carbon dots in yolk and eyes. So avocado is the one best one. It reached the highly fluorescence, and this one. So therefore, using this way, we can apply for the bioimaging applications, and it's a more biocompatible one. And also we can apply for cancer therapy. This is a in vivo study. And another one we applied for MRI application, magnetic resonance imaging applications. So this paper we published in Talden Transaction. So we have taken carbon quantum dots and we use the manganese oxide. So in situ synthesis, manganese oxide, carbon quantum dots doped manganese oxide. So you know well, for magnetic resonance applications, 3 nanometers people are used to use. The one is iron oxide nanoparticles. The second one manganese or manganese oxide nanoparticles. The next one gadolinium nanoparticles. So manganese oxide nanoparticles, it has the T1 signal. So T1 and relaxation T1. So if you want to learn more many things, we need to have one more class, but I can touch the few things. But after we use the glutathione, so after it get oxidized, this sheet it's collapsed, because when we put this carbon quantum dots, fluorescence was quenched. Then after it is released, then this carbon quantum dots liberate from the sheet, so that's why it's become fluorescent. And this one state, oxidation state Mn4, when it is a sheet, but when it is collapsed, Mn2 plus. So Mn4, it is the T1 signal, it's off. Mn2 T1 signal is on. So using this protocol, we apply for a bioimaging applications using MRI. It's a novel technique. So this is the carbon quantum dots UV data and manganese oxide alone UV data and coupled one. This fluorescence one. So still it is fluorescent. And then this is sheet, manganese oxide, carbon quantum dots coated manganese oxide sheet. And this MRI sheets. So this is water, and see here it is a contrast. It's opposite color. So glutathione, because this Mn4 is off and Mn2 is on. When it is Mn2 is on, the contrast color water and this one. So using this one, we can apply for MRI applications. Whatever we are taking MRI in a hospital, the same protocol, but a small size of the MRI instruments, we have it in International Iberian Nanotechnology Laboratory. And this bioimaging applications. So this one, after it is on, so we inside of cells we put inside, then Mn2 and the carbon quantum dots is there, tied cells is shown in this green color. So now it's acknowledgement. So it's my duty to thank Dr. B. Justin Rabi, Principal, and Dr. Nirmala, maybe HOD, Department of Chemistry, my very good friend. We are friends for more than 20 years. A very nice gentleman, and he's doing PhD now in with my friend only. His supervisor is my friend only, and I congratulate him and I wish him try to finish his PhD thesis by this year. So Dr. P. Aravind, Assistant Professor, and all the faculty members, Department of Chemistry, Christian College of Engineering and Technology, Ottanchataram. My special and sincere thanks to Make IT Academy, because of their fullest support and the fullest hard work only. This much participants we got it. And yesterday also they came for the rehearsals. So thanks a lot, madam, and their group. And my PhD research scholar, Mr. M. Chandru, Marudu, and Mercy, Koglishwaran, and Nehi. My project students, Kalpana, Mukesh, Manimali, Surudi, Jaychitra, Rashna, Sandhya Maladi, Joyce, and Oscar. We are big groups. And we have a collaboration with several places, Malaysia, Spain, Sweden, Portugal, Taiwan, Germany. And they are from Portugal. So she's my boss, Begona Espina, and I have two boss, and she is also my boss. And we done the MRI applications with these two, Juan Carlo and Manul, and bioimaging study done by Martha Prado, and the internal Crescent University collaborator Dr. S. Kutirani and Professor D. Iswaramurthy and Nasir. So these are my recent publications. We are also specialists for the biosensor applications, and other publications list is here. And finally, I thank all the participants for your presence here. And a few words I want to tell about our institute. So these days, I know well people are doing part-time PhD and they are suffering a lot to get the carestation, and even they are not having proper guidance. So you have to find the suitable person to get the help. So our institute, B.S. Abdurrahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, at our departments, we are working more than 14 faculty with different field. Our university offering summer internship for the students with nominal fee, and the hostel facility also is available, as well as some project MSc students, you can come and do your project there. And also we are asking very less amount, and the fullest support we can provide, and chemicals, other things we will provide you. And apart from that, the carestation, many carestation instruments are available. If you ask, we will provide the slot, and you can come directly, or you can post your sample. We will help you, including HPLC, electrochemical workstation, and the DRS UV, gas chromatography, many things. So just have a look of our institute website. If you have a collaborations with our institute, like Aravind is our collaborator, we are not charging for them, and for joint publication and joint proposals, we will do it. So all the very best for research scholars. Try to finish your PhD, and the faculty members, all the very best for your research. And feel free to contact me even after this session. My mail ID is there. Whatever help is possible, we will provide you. Thank you so much. Admin? Aravind, admin, are you there? Hello. Okay, we can start discussion section. So whatever doubt you have it, you can ask me directly, or you can type in chatting box. I will give my answer.
Sir, good morning. This is Dr. Shiba from BOC College.
Yes, madam.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, madam.
Sir, you specified that you use 0.22 micrometer filter paper for filtering the carbon buds, sir. In
Yes,
some
yes.
of the literature sources, we have seen that they have taken dialysis. Is it absolutely necessary to take dialysis of the carbon dots, or filtering through a 0.22 micrometer would be enough, sir?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's a very important technical question. Actually, that one is called a purification method, madam. So,
okay, sir.
So we have a special filter paper, cellulose filter paper. That one is enough for us. But even though we do the filtration, after that we used to do dialysis. Some people, they only directly go for dialysis. Some people, if they have a high RPM, the centrifugator, then they can go with the 20,000, 30,000 high RPM. That is also enough. The superman solution they just take out, and heavy materials will be settled down. Some people, they just use the column chromatography for the purification. So it's based on our availability, I mean the instrument availability as well as the chemical availability, we can go through it. There is no standard procedure you have to follow.
So it's not a problem that if we... Yes.
Madam?
So if we skip the dialysis part also, we can purify it effectively, sir?
Yeah, during
even if we
your
skip the dialysis part also, the
imaging,
purification part will be effective, sir?
Actually, my comment, you have to filter
Yes,
it,
sir.
then you have to dialysis. That is the best option. I hope you have seen our TEM image. It's a well clear one. The reason how we get this one is because of the dialysis
Okay.
plus filtration. And
Yes,
Raman
sir.
spectroscopy also, it's a well good pan we obtain. This is the reason. So therefore, first you have to filter it, then you can do the
Oh,
dialysis for
fine.
1 day or 2 days. That is advisable one.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Sir, what about the passivation that you have specified, sir? Passivation, what should be done during the experimental part to achieve passivation, sir?
Actually, if you are doing, if you are preparing
Hello.
nanoparticles, metal nanoparticles, we need a ligand, am I correct, to stabilize the nanoparticles. Similarly, this passivating ligand,
Yeah.
it is needed for to get the stabilization. Sometimes, if you are taking only citric acid alone, it acts as a passivating agent. Uh, but if you are taking natural precursors, well, thousands of chemicals is there. So therefore, you don't need to keep
Yes,
separate
sir.
passivating agents for the synthesis of carbon dioxide. That's why that natural precursor waste material based nanoparticle synthesis is novel today. But people are reporting without having passivating agent also. But the problem is if they
Yes,
are
sir.
using without using passivating agent, the stability is somewhat questionable, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a very informative presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Any other question?
Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, I'm Dr. B. Anupama from Hyderabad Reddy Women's College.
Yes, please.
Sir, regarding yeah, your presentation is excellent,
Thank you.
very fascinating. And sir, can you give the detailed procedure how to prepare the carbon dots by using hydrothermal method?
Okay, so first you have to buy the autoclaves, and you can use some special oven. Normal hot air oven or something. It should go higher than 200 or 300 temperature. And when you are buying the autoclaves, you have to be very careful. Autoclave Teflon heat capacity is there. For example, some cheap material autoclave, cheap cost autoclave is available, but that autoclave Teflon did not have any heating capacity higher than 100 degree. So if you are buy that one, it is waste for you. So some little expensive autoclave is there. Teflon having the capacity heat resistance capacity, it's 400 300 degree. So outside temperature we are giving 210, but if it's a closed one day we are keeping inside, definitely it will be higher temperature inside. If you are taking very cheap materials, sometimes your Teflon get fuse or melt, then your total sample it will be wasted, and it's a very big headache to remove the Teflon from the outer steel jackets. So the high quality Teflon and the autoclave you have to buy it, and if you have this normal hot air oven, you can start your work. So some 1:1 ratio solvent and your starting material you have to take it and fix the time 1 hour minimum. We have to go 5 hours, 6 hours with a different
Okay.
temperature. Then you simply for preliminary studies whether it is form or not, only you have to check UV chamber. That is enough.
Yes.
So you have to take your sample and put in a beaker or some other a vial, glass vial, put inside and irradiate your light. If you are observing some different colors, then you can conclude somewhat it is produced. And also the second one, you have to go fluorescence, and based on the fluorescence intensity, you will know. If the fluorescence intensity if it is 800, 900, then good fluorescence. But the fluorescence intensity 1000, I mean 100 or less than 100, less fluorescence. So then you have to modify your procedure, try to reach high fluorescence. This is the way. And the second one, you have to be very careful about your solvent. Already I mentioned during my talk, some solvent itself have some fluorescence. If you are mixing DMF, if you get green fluorescence, you may think that you got carbon dots, but it is due to your solvent. You have to check your solvent alone their fluorescence. If you are not getting any fluorescence for your solvent, definitely you got the result, madam.
Sir, always we get pure carbon dots only, sir, at the end. How can we know whether?
No, definitely not. If you want to get the pure carbon dots, only you have to go for the electrochemical method and laser method. Laser method also somewhat unreacted materials will be there. Electrochemical method, you can get the highly pure. For that method, even you don't need to go for the purification. But this one unreacted starting material will be there. So again, you have to go for the purification. You can go for the column chromatography or centrifugation, as well as dialysis or filtration. Anyone you can take, or any two you can take.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So can we contact it further, sir?
Yes, please, no problem. My profile is there in my website. I can
Okay.
share my
Contact.
email ID. Yeah, yes, in chatting box. You can
Okay.
contact
Thank
me.
you so much. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other doubt? So my email ID already given in my chatting box. So from student side, I am ready to answer for your question. Somebody asked, Varadarajan, he asked one question. Can we dope the rare earth elements with the carbon dots? Yes, you can dope rare earth elements also you can dope. Some reports are available. Any research group sensing COVID-19 virus using carbon dots. Actually, many funding agencies are open to submit the proposal. Hereafter only some report will come. But I found some reports from Chinese countries. They are doing COVID-19 for sensing application for the carbon dioxide. And Raghu, he asked, what is the consistency between consistency between the structure obtained of top-down method and bottom-up? So both structure are same only. Only the small difference. Hope you, if you see my slide, I can share again. You cannot get unique structure because it is a sheet. You cannot get unique structure. It is a different structure. See here. So one is big, and one is small. One is big, one is small. It's not like a metal nanoparticle. It's a small sheet. I mean, it's also one-dimensional sheet. So therefore, you cannot get the unique structure. If you are synthesis by top-down method, same structure only you can get it. If you are synthesis by bottom-up method, similar structure only you can get it. So nothing different, and all other properties, physical, chemical properties will be just similar. Only the synthesis protocol is different. You are having big one, and you are reduce their size small one. It is the top-down method. And another one, bottom up, you have a small, and you are going to prepare a little higher size. That is bottom up. That's only difference. Okay, one more. Karupasamy, he asked, can you tell the purification method of carbon dots? Already I explained purification method. So it's a liquid, so therefore don't think that this carbon dots you can make it a solid. When you are evaporate the solvent, it becomes a solid. That solid substance also is fluorescent. You can go for the other applications, solid state applications also. These carbon dot purifications based on your availability, I mean the instrumental availability. If you have only the centrifugator, you can go with this one. The filter paper little expensive, so that one 0.2 micrometer size, I mean 250 nanometer or 400 nanometer size you can go. Only allow that much smaller particle size can come outside. Otherwise, you can do the dialysis process. Even after you centrifuge, if you are not get the very good fluorescence or a very good chem image, just go again the dialysis and other one. only we can know whether our particles is good structured one or highly purified one. How we will know? Through some characterization. One is through XRD. We can have. I forgot to show that data. XRD data, 2 peaks can come. Then second one, your Raman, and third one is your 10 image. So Raman spectra, it is very important. These days people are giving the sample to take a Raman spectra, but I don't know that technicians, he has experience to synthesize this nanomaterial. So Raman data we are passing lasers is very important one. That one also is carbon material. Maybe it is unreacted one. It's a residue one. So when you are passing the laser, so during the laser irradiation, it will produce the carbon quantum dots or graphene sheet. So we have to avoid the keep on irradiation of the laser into the specimen. So we have to irradiate certain time. During that certain time, if you get 2 peaks, your compound is highly pure. But the people, if you are keep on irradiate, itself it produce the graphite sheet, then it will show some peaks. So don't think that that one is due to your compound, because you are preparing while you are passing the laser, it produces the carbon quantum dots or other material. So the people, if you go for high impact battle journal, American Chemical Society or some other journal, they will ask the image where you have irradiate. That image, if sometimes your sample can get burned, because of the burning, carbon materials can produce. They will see whether it is burned and how much irradiation time, then area, which area you have taken. That things they will ask for if you are giving the Raman data. So that things is very important. There we can find whether it is highly purified one or not purified one. Okay, any other doubts from people? Tilagar Raman, we are you already. Okay, that is the recording about people. Okay, Ilekya, we are some question. The returns are very nice. You also can see the chatting box. I am reading from chatting box. So very nice presentation. Thank you. Fruit sheets can exhibit fluorescence property without conversion of the carbon dots or not? Yes, it's a very good question. Already I mentioned solvent itself has some fluorescence. So we have to go step by step. For example, I have taken perical, okay, para fruit and their extract. So first one I have to find out which solvent I have to. I am going to use water. So you know very well, you don't need to go for UV radiation. Water will not have any fluorescence. But this extract have sometimes fluorescence. So before I start the experiment, I have to check whether this extract starting material itself it is fluorescent or not. Okay, sir, itself it is fluorescent. It is blue fluorescence. Can I do further? If it is novel one, you can go. Okay, after you synthesis, I got red fluorescence. Definitely that work will reach with high impact cytogen, because starting material is green and the final one is red. But starting material is green and final one also is green, means the reactions not happen. So the same fluorescence you obtain. So therefore the work is good. Otherwise, you can check with UV data and fluorescence data. The same extract you have to take the fluorescence. If you are getting the same fluorescence for the carbon quantum dot, then there is no reaction inside. But somewhat different fluorescence peak you obtain means you can go further. So my advice, if it is already fluorescent, you have to think twice whether we have to proceed or not. Because sometimes majority of the time it will be waste of work. People will ask, it is already fluorescence, then why you are making one more fluorescence? Why the necessity to this next time? So it's a common question. So you have to check starting material, solve and final product. If all are same fluorescence, you have to throw that work. If someone is different, you can proceed that work. Many chatting is regarding about the feedback. Please admin, please take care of it. If people want to ask directly, you can unmute your mic and you can ask.
you haven't seen any other questions from chatting box. Anupama, she asked one question. Can you give the detailed procedure of separation of carbon dioxide, hydrothermal? You can refer our articles also. You just look for the Google Scholar, type my name Lakshmalai. When you will be there, you can refer. Clearly mentioned in my article. And Soundarya, she asked, in which cases quantum confinement effect to be considered? So quantum confinement effect only is obtained when you are irradiating the light. If you are keeping normal temperature or dark place, quantum confinement effect will not be happen. So when you are radiating light, then already mentioned due to the surface defect and as well as electron gold recombination, the quantum confinement effect will be there. And Sakshi Mishra, they are from the most of the carbon dioxide are blue fluorescent. How can we obtain yellow or carbon dioxide with quantum dioxide? It's a very good question and it's a challenging task. We are also trying to get the red fluorescence, other fluorescence. Actually, it's based on my research experience. I can tell one thing. If you are go for high temperature, 200, 180 something, majority of the cases you can obtain blue fluorescence. If you are 80 to 150 temperature, if you are giving, some cases or majority of cases, your compound can get other fluorescence. These things I have observed. So still we are working on that. And second one, solvent. Some solvent, if you put inside, the fluorescence can come. Already I shown to you this one, hydrogen sulfide. If you add, then it will become a green fluorescence. So you can dope material. So first prepared something. If you are getting blue fluorescence, then you can change the procedure, dope something, keep the same procedure, and see the F fluorescence. So if you are doping heavy metals or if you are doping nitrogen sulfur or heavy atoms, something, it will change the fluorescence. So these things I have observed based on my experience. And also starting material. So if you are taking big polymeric structure molecules, definitely it will go for the red fluorescence or yellow fluorescence. If you are taking small molecules something, majority of the cases it will come for the blue fluorescence. Based on my research experience, I have observed, and based on the literature survey also, I have seen this. Okay. She asked one question, will the carbon dioxide prepared from natural precursors be equally potent as the prepared organic precursors? Actually, it's based on our writing. Both are same only. If you are taking organic precursor, we can say chemical compound. But this natural precursors means people what they are saying we can able to prepare in a large quantity. If I am taking neem leaves as a starting material, I can get tons of neem leaves. But if I am taking one paraphenylene, diamine or something, it's expensive, we have to spend. This neem leaves is cheap cost material. So this way the people are writing. But the application side, the organic precursors, if you are saying the people they can write again, maybe it's harmful to the living cells. But these natural precursors, people are saying cheap cost materials, naturally available materials. So based on your availability, I mean your chemical availability, if you are not able to find any natural precursor, it's advisable to go for the organic precursor. But once you convert the nanoparticles, carbon nanoparticles, it is highly soluble in water, so the solvent effect will not be come again. So you can go again with the same biological activity. But after do the cytotoxicity test only, you will came to know whether your compound is harmful to the cells or a normal one. That it is after you perform some experiment only you will know about that. So you can do both. Ram Kumar Jagan. He asked something. Okay, Jagat Kumar Sen. Okay, hi sir. Can you prepare graphene oxide carbon dioxide same hydrothermal method? Yeah, already I told you in my presentation. Graphene oxide based one. First one, that one, compound method. First you have to go for graphene oxide, then you can. This one. So this one you can prepare by graphene oxide, then you can prepare. Even you can use instead of DMF water. Otherwise, the same graphene oxide you can use with microwave method. The same graphene oxide you can go with the laser ablation method. Other methods also you can able to go. So the graphene oxide is better also, but the same sector. But based on the observed data, people if they are prepared from the top-down method, they have little higher electrical conductivity than the bottom-up method. So if your work is more related with electrical conductivity, it is also a way to prepare with graphene oxide. But only the problem is take 2 days time. So that is the problem. But if you go by natural precursor method, it is very simple. One day you can get carbon. I mean, some people are Sunday like and today we are contesting are and speed up quoted on K2. I am so, I mean, are you there?
Some
Mic and noise is coming. Okay, so the paper-based sensor recently have a so you can use this format. But then you think what you are what again therefore you have to mix with some other material like silicon gel or clay. Then if you are cutting this silicon gel, your paper. And besides, you have to prepare very highly concentrated material. And you can test. One more thing I forgot to inform you. The concentration of carbon. What we used to take by weight, take. So we have to take 1 ml of your synthesized carbon compound, and you have to take empty weight of your vial. Then you have to add this one. Evaporate all the solvent. Then you have to take out and wait until it gets room temperature. Then you have to wait again. When it is subtract, you will know this much grams of carbon dioxide in 1 ml. So that's the correct way to find out the concentration of this one because it is a weight. So there is no other method to find out the concentration. So in case if you want to increase the concentration, you just evaporate your solvent, then the concentration is little higher. Then you can use the concentrated carbon compound that's for the coating applications or solar cell or other applications. Okay, any other question from audience side? Okay, I haven't received any question from chatting box. Admin, you can continue the session.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Shall we close the session now?
Or otherwise, if the people still have a question, I am ready to answer.
I think actually there is no question from the chat.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. You
Okay.
can conclude the session.
Yeah, sir. Thank you all. We are dedicating a special thanks to Dr. N. Vaidyanathan sir for sharing such a valuable and worthy views. Really, it is wonderful and very useful for us. Special thanks to Christian College of Engineering and Technology, Dindigul, in Department of Chemistry for this webinar of initiation, and Mr. P. Aravindan sir who arranged this wonderful webinar. And also a special thanks to Making Academy for this arrangement. It's time to thank our valuable participants who all attended and made this session valuable and wonderful. Participants kindly fill the feedback link which will be in the chat section. If your feedback is not accepted, receive through mail, don't worry about that. You will receive the e-certificates to your mail. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Ah.